Let's get it. Only for life, yeah, only for life, yeah, only for life. Let's get it. Hit that shoulder lean. I know what coming over me. Backstroke overseas. I know what you need. Already on 10, all money come in. All feeling go out. This feeling don't drought. This party won't end. If I didn't ride blade on curve, would you still? If I'm in my mind at work, would you still? Keep it 100, I'd rather you trust me than to. Keep it a whole 100, don't got you, I got nothing.
Run for my money. There is nobody, no one that'll run me. So give me a run for my money. Sipping bubbly, feeling lovely. Living lovely. She's lovely.
I wanna be with you. Hey, I wanna be with. I wanna be with you. Hey, I wanna be with. I wanna be with you. I'm on the way. We ain't got no time to waste. Popping your gum on the way. And mine away. I don't want pressure, you none. I want your blessing today. Oh, by the way, open the door by the way. Told you that I'm on the way. I'm on the way. I know connection is vague. Pick up the phone for me, babe. Damn it, we jamming. That attitude from your nanny. Curving your hip from your mammy. Remember, Gardena, I took the studio camera. I know Taco be mad at me. I had to do it. I want your body, your music. I bought the big one to prove it. Look what you made. Told you that I'm on the way. I'm like an exit away. Yep. If I didn't ride blade on curve, would you still? If I'm in my mind at work, would you still? Keep it 100, I'd rather you trust me than to. Keep it a whole 100, don't got you, I got nothing.
Run for my money. There is nobody, no one that'll run me. So give me a run for my money. Sipping bubbly, feeling lovely. Living lovely. She's lovely.
I wanna be with you. Hey, I wanna be with. I wanna be with you. Hey, I wanna be with. I wanna be with you.
Me just love me.
Hold on, fuck that. Fuck that shit. Hold on. I got to start this motherfucking record over again. Wait a minute. Fuck that shit. Still on this motherfucking record. I'm gonna play this motherfucker for y'all. Hey, y'all get some more drinks going on. I sound a whole lot better.
Ritualistic, cleansing my soul of addiction for now, 'cause I'm falling apart. Yep, tension between us just like picket fences. You got issues that I won't mention for now, 'cause we're falling apart. Passionate from miles away, passive with the things you say, passing up on my always. I can't blame you, no. Passionate from miles away, passive with the things you say, passing up on my always. I can't blame you, no. us from a distance. I think we should rule out commitment for now, 'cause we're falling apart. Leaving, you're just doing that to get even. Don't pick up the pieces, just leave it for now. They keep falling apart. Passionate from miles away, passive with the things you say, passing up on my always. I can't blame you, no. No. Passionate from miles away, passive with the things you say, passing up on my always. I can't blame you, no. No.
Trying to think of the right thing to say.
Good evening and welcome to the Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray Phillips here on yikesradio.com and acceleratedRadio.net. Here on the Poetry of Justice show, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying,
yikesradio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, those are the sultry sounds of my mentor, the Mr. Kevin Nash. And I always give honor to the Mr. Kevin Nash because were it not for his dream child here at Accelerated Radio, yes, Kevin, and at yikesradio.com, it wouldn't be possible for me to do what I so love to do here on Saturday nights. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give some shout outs to our sponsorship. First and foremost to Miss Lori G, the benefactor. How are you tonight, Lori G?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good, gorgeous.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lori G represents Gingy Productions and Entertainment Company as well as executive producer here at the Poetry of Justice show. So we always appreciate your contributions, Lori G. Thank you so very much. And then I'd like to give another very special shout out to G Babies Catering LLC, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to reach out to Chef Mac. If you have catering services, you know COVID has lifted, some of the restraints are up, and so we're back full throttle. So I want you to, again, check out Chef Mac on Instagram. And again, that's GBABBIES LLC, ladies and gentlemen. And that's my nephew, guys. I want you to check him out. Ladies and gentlemen, then I want to go ahead and give sponsorship out to who we call here in the Poetry of Justice show, the Man of Steel of WMPJ Steelworks. We call him the Man of Steel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. And shout out to Mimo. And that's him, too. This is his new venture, ladies and gentlemen, at APS Muscle Cars. So we've been rolling on that one for about 6 years of incorporation. But what we do have is a brand new facility in Signal Hill. So let's say you got your motorcycles or your low riders or some custom cars you may want stored, or you may want to build some of these custom hot rods. Again, you want to check out Memo, MEMO, with APSmusclecars.com. Check him out, ladies and gentlemen. Hot rods, I'm telling you. It's nothing like it. So here we are. The Poetry of Justice Show, Jackie Ray Phillips, yikesradio.com, acceleratedradio.net. And I got here my sister Lori G to my right. How are you doing tonight, beautiful?
I'm doing well. Well, just texting out the URL for everyone so that they can check us out, as well as YouTube and Facebook Live. We're also on Accelerated Radio and Yikes Radio. And guys, we are in 111 different countries, with India being our #1 country right now.
I know, I'm so freaking excited, right? Hi, gentlemen. We got people. We got more people. Guys, steady. Guys are doing a little bit of tech work here behind the scenes. Lori G, how you doing tonight? You making it happen for us, beautiful?
I am trying to multitask.
Okay, so we're doing some multitasking. I was going to do some multitasking and some tagging at the same time. But, Lori G, I'm going to have you take the helms for me a little bit. I'm just going to work on this side of Tad. Just see what's
That sounds beautiful as we get that going.
Look at that.
So tonight, gentlemen, I'm going to ask each of you to take a couple moments to introduce yourselves. But I want to tell our listeners now, this is the one you want to sit back, get yourself, a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, whatever your thing is, because we got some great stories that are going to be told today. I'm so excited and passionate because we seldom hear positive stories about African American men or men of color. And so that's what tonight is filled with. And they're success stories. They're inspirational stories. They're stories that will inspire all of us to take note of where we are and what we're doing. So we're going to start off with our introductions. And Chris, I'm going to ask you to take a couple of minutes and share with our listeners who you are and what you're excited about tonight.
Sure. So my name is Chris Martin. I'm a lawyer by day, singer by night. I'm the lead singer of the band Brown Suede, which actually made its radio debut.
When?
2 weeks ago.
Wow, where? Tell us.
It was on 92.3 out
Hey,
here
now.
and 106.1 K-Mail out in the Bay Area.
That's
All
right.
right, that's great. Congratulations.
Awesome sauce. You got that, Lori G?
I do. You know me. Take notes.
How are you doing tonight, Mr. Red Breed?
I'm blessed. I'm glad to be here. Appreciate the opportunity to be on this platform, to be here to maybe say something that can help somebody.
I know you will. But you're no stranger to radio, I understand.
I got a little bit of experience. God calls me to do things out of my comfort zone, and I've been doing it since I've been home 2009. Got called to be on a platform to do gospel rap, so I'm a street gospel rap artist. Just dropped a single for Better Days, July 2nd.
4 Better Days is it?
4 Better Days, yeah.
Can we get that on? Can we still pull up YouTube sheet?
Yeah.
Is that something we can pull up, Red Breed?
Yeah, definitely. Available on all platforms, July 2nd. I'm also a journeyman in my trade, a union worker. I'm a peace builder. I do free work, paid work in the community as called for. I used to work for Mayor Garcetti GRID program, Gang Reduction Youth Development. I'm an executive board member of Southern California Ceasefire. We do intervention, gang prevention, victim services. I'm a street outreach coordinator for United in Peace, Peace Rides. We do every fourth Sunday, creating peace throughout the community and collaborating with people with bad stigmas and killing that stigma and joining forces even with law enforcement. I'm an outreach coordinator for Hip Hop Church LA, founded by Curtis Blow and brought to the West Coast some years ago. I'm also executive board member of United We Stand Up. Okay. It's a East Side Blood and Crip table that sits down and creates peace. We've been together for about 2 years now, and we've made major impacts in the community that they don't get measured, in the eyesight of the media and things like that. We work hand in hand with people who used to call each other enemies, so it's a lot of work that I do. I got a lot of hats. Definitely a father. I got 8 grandbabies.
That's beautiful.
Just loving life in the purpose that I got now.
I have a question for you. Yeah. Are you familiar with Kev Mack and his work?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if you was familiar with, his
definitely.
line of work. We've had
And what I'm big on is unity, and a lot of us do divided work. We do individual work, and we don't know how to bridge gaps and bring unity, because the unity is what empowers people, and that's what I push. And it's not happening. It needs to happen more. So that's the purpose God got me in this work for.
And Rare Breed, your name, your moniker, how and when did you decide on that?
It was a name I thought of years ago, even when I was doing street stuff, and I just never utilized the name.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came home from prison and got this assignment, like, okay, I'm a positive person. I ain't really into the religious division portion of what religion is and the Europeanized Christianity and all that. So, because I got Muslim family, I got, Scientologist friends, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a humanitarian over anything. So you can't tell me to divide myself and hate on somebody because of belief system. So, I don't even hate on the people I left behind in the world with the gangbanging, so I was redeemed. I was given a second chance, and we all deserve it,
Yes.
So Rare Breed is like, I'm not built like everybody. I'm not cut from the cloth. I don't even have a box, to think outside of. So I can't say I think outside of. We like to throw our hand up with pride. We think outside the box, so that's safe to say you in the box.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
so things like that, I got a critical thinking process that's different from everybody. So it just fit, and that's what God gave me.
Do you mind sharing your date of birth? Just the month.
7/17/75, not a problem.
7/17.
July 17th?
Yeah. Next
Birthday
week.
coming up. Happy birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. So we got 3 at 7.
That's crazy.
1 at the 5.
A lot of
And
sevens
1
there.
at the 1. You see
There
that
is a lot
7,
of
7, 7, 7. Look at you. You're just born to be who you are. Born to
So, Dante,
be
why don't you
wild.
introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
How y'all doing? It's Dante
Hi.
Harris, AA all day, AA always. I represent something called affirmative action. Basically, we believe in like a student affirmations and stuff like that. It was thought about in Louisiana with me and my close friends, and we pretty much stood out from everybody else, but we wanted something better,
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just took that with me. I'm an implant now. I've been out here like 8 years as far as Los Angeles.
Okay. I like that, an implant. And so I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to meet you.
My name is Andre Hub City Dre Spicer.
Okay,
yeah,
nice
how
to
you
meet you,
doing?
Andre.
I'm from the city of Compton. I'm a community activist and a liaison for the city of Compton. Also a entrepreneur. I own a radio station, internet radio station based in Compton called the Hub Radio.
Oh, great.
Also a water store in the city of Compton. And me and my wife own a natural hair salon in the city of Compton as well.
Okay.
And I recently ran for city council in the city of Compton.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
That is
That's
way awesome.
wonderful.
I know. I was doing a little bit of work. I'm sorry. We're doing new technology tonight, everybody. So please excuse me. No disrespect. I'm going to have all my attention in like 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. So I like to look people in their eyes. But usually I'm just going to tell you the truth. Normally we have this old little bit of an archaic system, but it worked. I'm not going to say it was archaic. But then last week when we were talking, Rashid put us on game, and he was like, we can run your YouTube through the board. We can run your Facebook through the board, because we was doing Facebook over here on one device, and then we were doing YouTube on a completely different device. So now tonight is the first night of us doing everything through the board. The whole studio is a little bit different for us tonight. So thank you. Bear with me with the eye contact. So all due respect, gentlemen. So please forgive me. I just wanted to make sure you gentlemen are looking good so that we are blessed as we continue on this journey tonight. So thank you all so much for blessing us here on the Poetry of Justice Show. Jackie Ray Phillips, Yikes Radio. You happy, right?
Yeah, because we actually do have some interaction. We're actually able to see the interaction on YouTube from a Chris MC. B1 Peace, Queens and Kings. Happy birthday. That'll be for you coming up, Mr. Rare Breed and Dante. And then she gave thumbs up and the flames emoji.
I love you, Rashid. Look at this new system. All righty, so where do you want to go, Lolo? You want me to dive in, or you want to do it?
You can go ahead and dive in.
All right, do it. Let's do it. I just didn't want to be a hog.
It's okay.
All right, gentlemen, let's get ready. Let's get down with it. So we usually talk and we ask, just to guys let you know again, Hub City Dre, I just wanted to let you know that we've been doing the Yikes Radio here with Kevin Nash. This is be our 5th year on August 6th. Wow. And that's very, very important to me. The Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray Phillips is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large. So the whole point of that is to leave our listeners thinking and saying, right, Yikes Radio. That's kind of my introduction. I, too, Dre, of City Dre, is from the city of Compton. My sister, Lori G, too, when I say from the city of Compton, I'm going to tell you how deep from the city of Compton. We went from birth in San Pedro to home in the city of Compton, to the same home that me and my sister still have and our family that our children live in. So that's just how much home Compton is. We went to Dickinson Elementary School, and from Dickinson Elementary School to Davis Middle School, well, Davis Junior High School back then, and then from Davis Junior High School, Compton Senior High School. And this is my older sister. It's just the two of us. It's Lori. Lori paved the way for many things, and I want to say that because I don't always take the time to slow down to give my sister enough honor and respect for who she is and her contributions, not only to me and assisting me here on this show, but her contribution to the world and to all the lives she's touched. Because I want you guys to know, particularly all of us, so we can know what we're doing tonight and we can really make this an enriched show, right? We've got all new technology tonight. We got some beautiful kings in the house, and I just think is what we have to do, is what I have to do. You talked about your calling earlier, Rebri, and so do I have a calling and a purpose and a mission, right? And we are all here by divine assignment. And nothing is by mistake. And this woman here fuels the engine. We've been doing this 5 years, and we started in a little bitty corner of a space about the size of, from Dre, maybe from that wall to that wall. Little, and I'm not even going to front, little dirty little joint. But that's just how hungry I was, because God put a seed in me in 2016 that's what he wanted me to do. So I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a clue. But all I knew is I showed up there every Saturday. Back then it was like 5 o'clock p.m. KLIQ Radio is where we started at good old Click. So from there, but I wouldn't have been able to do any of that without my sister's help and without my sister's passion. And when we were kids, my sister, I told you about Compton High School. She graduated in 1982, and she went directly to the University of Southern California at the age of 18 with a full academic scholarship. She was the salutatorian. She bowed down from the valedictorian and chose not to take that post because she had a war with one of her calculus competitors, and she just let him have the spot. But I just want to tell the truth. She's a very smart woman. Right? And yeah, you are, but it's just the truth. And she has dedicated like 40 years of her life to academia and helping people, all people, but particularly people of color, shuffle their way through the University of Southern California system. Lori has went from a work-study student, shuffling and providing jobs for spoiled rich children, to a dean position that she held for a interim period, dean of the University of Southern California School of Dramatic Arts, ladies and gentlemen, my sister. And again, I just want to honor you and tell you how much I love you. This is this little girl from Compton who, when she got to USC, Dre, they told her to go home. One of the deans told her, go home. This is not for you. You're not going to make it here. This isn't for you. So again, now she sits in the same chair that he sat. But see, she can bring us up in the spot now, right? It's a spook who said about the dough, right? The dough. So, but we can take it on up and get you some caviar if you like. Lori and I love to spend time at the Ritz-Carlton at the park in New York City. So we can do it all, ladies and gentlemen. So we can get gutter if we want to. And then we can be the beautiful queens that we know our kings need. But sometimes your king need a queen to get dirty. So just letting you know we're not afraid of the dirt. So.
Write it down.
Just want you
Nice.
gentlemen to know that. And thank you again, Lloyd G.
Well, thank you for such beautiful accolades. I do appreciate it.
I do appreciate it, too.
But I'm also exceptionally proud of you and your journey and your ability to be courageous and to step out and to have a dream. Oftentimes, and gentlemen, I'd like for you to weigh in on that. Oftentimes we have dreams, right? But it takes a great deal of courage to ignite and engage and make those dreams come about. And Jackie had that desire and radio and performing, and she's an actress and a poet and an author, and flourished into all of those things after raising her children, and they're very successful. So proud of my nieces. So that's great. So it's as you say, it's a night of positivity, of positivity. And so again, I'm the nosy one of the group.
And so I was just
I'm
going to
so
ask
very
Dante
nosy.
some questions.
And it's okay, I own it, right? You got to own who you are and how you exist in the world. Absolutely.
Right.
That's fair. So I like these things called legacy stories, right? And you heard a little bit of my legacy story. I'm a first generation college student. And as Jackie said, when I arrived at USC, my advisor, my dean, told me, it's just a waste of time for you to be here. Not only are you black, but you're a woman. And what are you doing? You're not going to make it out of here. And sometimes it's just amazing to think, not only did I make it out of there, but I'm a dean at one of the top 25 universities in the whole world. So that's impactful. And I think oftentimes, thank you, we minimize those stories, right? When I was doing my graduate degree, I did a research project about definitions of success, right? And so you hear about people who say, oh, they're the president of Wells Fargo Bank. Oh, they're so successful. And then you got JoJo, who's maybe the department manager at Rite Aid. Well, I think JoJo at Rite Aid is successful if JoJo was in the gutter. Right? And that's where they started. They started at the gutter, and they worked themselves all the way up here, opposed to this other cat who's the vice president or president of Wells Fargo, who started off, from an Ivy League institution with all the bells and whistles. So I think it's important that we take time to redefine and recalibrate, right, what it means to be successful and start sharing those stories. So I'm very interested in knowing your legacy story and how that story fueled you to do the entrepreneurial work that you're doing now. Fair enough?
Sure.
Great. Who'd like to jump in first?
I'll go first.
All right, Dante.
All right, so I do music. I didn't mention it before, mainly. That I think that's what saved me. I think as far as changing my way of thinking. I'm a trauma child originally, though. So my mom and my dad, they had me when they was like 17. I think my mom was like 16. My dad was like 17. So my dad was known for like being an All-American and every sport, anything he touched, he was just pressure. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, he had a hater. And he got murdered at 17, so he didn't see past 17. And it's all good. So basically, like all my life, I didn't really have that. So you know what I'm saying? I'm seeing kids come up, not to mention all my other siblings got their pops in their life. So like they used to come back like, oh yeah, man, I went to my daddy's house. Like yeah, woo. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like just feeling crazy. So throughout my whole life, I kind of like had to find my own way with that. My grandfather, I would say, is my father figure, but I had to kind of find my own way with that. So it made me like my own man in any lane that I stood in, So when I got to like, I think that's why music affected me so much. My grandparents, they was born in like the 40s. So, it was a disconnect. So they couldn't really talk to me. I'm receptive now. But they couldn't really talk to me in my language at the time. So I think that's why I attached to music so much, Right. And I learned like from hip hop and this, that, and the third, of kind of how to move, how to do my thing. So as hip hop evolved, I evolved. Right.
When did you fall in love with hip hop, Dante?
I'd have to say I was like 11 originally.
Did you know what song it was?
Man, I definitely have to say it's in between Pac and Biggie for sure. Cause I'm from New Orleans, so like I think like Wayne and everybody I grew up like just hearing that wasn't really like hip hop to me at the time. It just was like them boys down the street.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they doing their thing. But I think it was in between like Juicy and Ambitions as a Rider. You know, because it just was like I'm hearing that, and then I started doing my research. I'm like, oh, these boys not even here no more. You know, so it just was. I definitely say in between Pac and Biggie. That initially made me like, okay, this is what these boys is doing. Then it made me look at Wayne and everybody different. Like, okay, like this is actually legendary. What they got going on.
Amazing. I'm sorry. Go on ahead. I just had to interject because we just chop it up here like that. I'm sorry
my
about
bad.
that. You want to go on ahead, King? Because I have way more questions. But I like to toss that hip hop one around, if I may, to the panel.
Yeah,
and I just wonder, what does hip hop mean to you, Red Bree? If anything, what is hip hop to you?
Man, I'm probably older than everybody. The brothers right here, so I go back to listening to 8 tracks and recording them on the radio, and listening.
On the radio.
Yeah, listening to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. You know, I was East Coast born, West Coast raised. You know, I was born in Boston, Massachusetts. I came to Watts when I was 9, so I came like uprooted from something else into something else, and it still was chaos. Like, okay, we fighting over here too. You know, I was in the projects on the East Coast, and you know, I come from that breakdancing era where I was the youngest kid around the older kids going to the subway with the, you know, so I got a little bit of that culture. Right. But then when I came here, I fell right into the gang culture of it. You know, the NWAs. You know, but it was still like a juggle because you were still trying to find yourself. They gave you choices then. Right now, you just got one-dimensional rap. Mm-hmm. We still had the gold medallions. We had the X-Clan, Professor X's, you know. And I gravitated to all that stuff. You know, I was a Nas over Jay-Z type of person, you know, and definitely had Tupac and all them dudes. You know, I was looking at Tupac deeper than what we was looking at on the TV because he went from background house dancer to gangster rap, West Coast phenomenon, and we got to look at those things and what he was evolving to is why he got killed. You know, and the destruction that we got over our life, we can say, okay, nobody set that up, but it was a systematic pattern, and whether somebody else systematically was dumb enough to kill an icon like that, they set us up for that, you know. So rap played a whole lot in my life. You know, it was times I don't say rap was the reason why I did the violence, but it was theme music for my violence. So
you gotta get your mind right sometimes.
Yeah.
My daddy used to say, gotta get your mind
right.
Definitely.
What about you, Chris, sir? Hip hop, what does that mean to you?
Sure. And so I'll preface this statement by saying that although I am primarily an R&B and neo soul kind of cat myself, right, as a singer, I will say that I do have a profound love for hip hop. You know what I mean? Because I think that at its best, it tells our stories. You know, and there's diversity in our stories. You know what I mean? Whether it be, you know, gangster rap that does, you know, share a part of what goes on in our communities. You know what I mean? And there's a realness to just the stories that are told with that, right? Like with Pac and with Biggie. You know what I mean? But you know, I love you know, positive and uplifting hip hop as well. You know what I mean? And that's been, you know, just some of the things that have encouraged me to be the person that I am today. When I'm listening to music like Common, when I'm listening to Pac, when I'm listening to like Changes, you know what I mean? It inspires me to be a better person. I'm thankful for hip hop.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And what about you, Mr. Hub City Dre? Hip hop.
I've always loved hip hop. Hip hop has just been a reflection of our environment. It's been able to tell our own stories. And as a black boy at the time and a black man, I didn't always have the words to verbalize how I felt. And sometimes artists tend to put it together a lot better than maybe I could have said it. And I think a lot of that comes from as far as the communication part, I don't think like as Black people we communicated. We don't really talk about a lot, especially our pain and trauma.
Yeah.
And hip hop really is a good reflection of some of those things. So I loved hip hop for being able to speak for me in a lot of cases where I wasn't able to verbalize those words myself. So yeah, I've been a huge fan of hip hop. I would say I'm a West Coast baby, man. So it was always the Cubes, the Dre's, the Dog Pounds, the Pops. I like the Pac and the Me Against the World Pac though.
Right.
You know, I think he was talking about some different stuff at that time.
Okay, Dre, I got a
More
question.
Black struggle, and I appreciated that. So, but yeah, that's my answer in a nutshell.
What song do you recall when you fell in love with him?
Me Against the World.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Just nailed it for you.
But he had a couple tracks on that particular album. Oh man, now you're gonna make me think about it. That was the Shed So Many Tears. That was oh man, Death Around the Corner. It was a lot of those tracks that was a reflection of kind of what we was going through at the time.
Absolutely.
So, that's an album you
right? In and of itself. What about
that's
you?
That's an album you listen to, and it's like reading the Bible. You're going to hear something and learn something every time you hear it. You know, it's going to be something different all the time.
That because, like, sometimes it's almost like church, right? Yeah. When you're hearing the preacher talking, you're like, oh, man, amen.
That's
you're like, yeah, I feel that right there. Like, I felt like that in hip-hop.
Like, one particular part I heard when I was in prison, I've been listening to the song, and I never heard this one part till I was sitting in my little space, and he said, I've been wanting to have babies to see a side of me that wasn't always shady. Don't trust my lady because she a product of the poison. Keep hearing noises, thinks she effing on my boys. And I'm in jail and I'm going through it. Like, man, and so I finally heard it. Like, so the lenses change when you're going through life cycles, and the music do things to you. That's true. And we got to take it back to where it was a healing process for us. I was against doing remixes on songs until God gave me a song when I first started with a YG song, the Beat the Up. Y'all know that song, the Beat the Up, that one. Yeah. So I heard that song driving to work to San Diego early morning trying to stay woke, and I'm like, man, that beat banging, man. And I was like, that beat hard. It just need to say something because what he's saying is garbage. You know what I mean? No disrespect to him, but he wasn't feeding us right, And I was just rapping in my head, and I said something, and I was like, man, that's cheesy. Don't do no remixes. And then here it goes, like 2 weeks later, I was still stuck with those same exact rhymes in my head. Yeah. And for me, it was confirmation to do the song. So I changed the song to Praises Up. Amen. And it took a lot for me to take the enemy out of the song, because I couldn't even get the moaning part out of it. And I just had to put something on top of it, and I put Lord on top of it. And it wasn't mimicking the song. It was me transforming the song and giving people something else to listen to where they can enjoy. Because kids was when I was mentoring kids back then, elementary kids, when I play that beat, they'd jump up, start grabbing their zipper and acting a fool. And it was a teaching tool for me to let them know it's not, you don't even understand that. You ain't even reached puberty, but you want to talk about beating something up. So here go a song for your mother. She can condone you you can play this beat. It's about the beat, It really wasn't about the lyrics, but you got caught up,
right?
So.
I'll praise it up.
Yeah. So we have a question that's been
I got
asked.
a couple questions. We got Facebook too.
Yeah. So on YouTube, we got Loving Hip Hop, and looking at what is going on now. Do you believe an agenda is being pushed through hip hop?
Who's going to take that?
I think
great question.
I think an agenda been being pushed in hip hop because before it got commercialized, it was for us. You know what I'm saying? And let's just be real, hip hop is not for us. Like as far as like what happened to it, like
the culture.
Yeah, the culture is ours forever. But as far as like the business side of it, of course it's an agenda. You feel me? Them people not gonna try to control nothing that they not gonna push and get their little message out. Yeah. And that's why everything just so I call it like destructive. You know what I'm saying? Because in my culture, you can either build or destroy. It ain't no gray area.
Right.
So if you're not on that talking about like, get your own businesses. Of course, there's certain people. Nipsey, Rick Ross, Larry, I listen to, even Larry June will tell you to get your mind right and step it up, you know what I'm saying? But as far as like little TJs and Polo Gs and, you know what I'm saying, these cats is glorifying like killing brothers for nothing. Like literally nothing. You feel me? So yeah, I definitely think it's an agenda being pushed.
You know, it's funny how just the progression of like drugs in hip hop when it's mentioned. I feel like in the 80s it was about like not doing that type of stuff, and then in the 90s, maybe the early 2000s, it started being about being the drug seller, the drug dealer, and nowadays it's about being the drug user.
So sad.
Yeah, it was about the sadness of the poverty that was striking us, you know, the don't push me, I'm close to the edge. And then it evolved to, you know, we the dope man, you know, and that's what they did. And then they stripped the black medallions away from us. They stripped it could have went that way, but then they didn't pay us like that. So the contracts went more towards the NWAs and all these negative people, the Jay-Z's and the people that was glorifying the destruction of what we was doing. And then it was like we not gonna sign you unless you do that. So then it was a forced thing. I want to get my money. I'm gonna go get my money. So I'm gonna sell out. A lot of people lost their souls to the game. It's a lot of people I know to this day that's phenomenal artists that won't go to the higher ups because they got to cross a threshold that they're not willing to. They've been introduced to a threshold in the music industry that they don't want. So you either, what do you do? And right now the struggle with CHH, we gotta conform to what we want it to be and not conform to what the world wants us to be. We got people that want to say, I want to sound like them. Do you want to sound like them, or do you want to bring God's voice out to do what it got to do? So, you know, like we got an event that never happened before on the West Coast, a 2-day 2020 Summerfest happened September 17th and 18th at Bank of America Stadium. Never happened. It's Latin and Christian hip hop, and it's breaking barriers. The West Coast is making noise. We coming back. We stopping trying to sound like somebody else right now, and we in a spiritual warfare in this movement right now, and we the voice for that movement. And we got to understand that, you know, we got to utilize his voice, just like Stevie Wonder used his voice, Marvin Gaye used his voice, James Brown, all these people that was in these civil rights movements and all these eras of fighting this oppression, they had a voice and they was vocal. So I always encourage anybody, I don't care if you secular, just do something positive for your people one time. And it's an evasive way, because once you tap in and you see the change that you can be, it's going to encourage you to do something more, you know. So
my opinion on this is real. It's a fine line, right? So with hip hop, we've always said it's been a reflection of our community. So if they're talking about selling drugs and guns and things like that, sometimes that is a reflection of their community, and that might be all they know. Right. Not to say that it's right, not to say that, you know, we should give them a pass for it, but that is a reflection of their environment. That is what they know. So we can't cast stones at them either. Now, if they decide not to grow in that space and stay, you know, third, fourth album still talking about the same thing, and in that sense, I agree. But then also we have to look at where we've been as a people. Hip hop was born right when we had the crack era. You know what I'm saying? So it's right when we were in poverty, then we became a drug dealer, then we became the drug abuser. This is our story in the hood. Now, prior to that, when it was the Marvin Gayes, when it was the Al Greens, it was a whole different vibe at that time. There was a whole different unity with black people. There were men in the house. There's a whole bunch of different things going on. So we can't always cast stones. We have to have compassion for our people, as to say where we've come from and what we've been dealing with. So while I agree with a lot that was being said, we still have to have compassion for our people on the other end. So I did want to throw that out there.
Let me add to that. Yeah, absolutely. But how I look at it too, though, like the Furious Five, bro, them boys was blinging. Them boys had chains, this, that, and the third. They wasn't telling you how they got them, though. They was telling you don't push me because I'm close to the edge. You feel me? And telling you why this is not what's up. So that's what I mean. Like, as far as people glamorizing it, that's different. You feel me? But I definitely agree with what you saying. Like, I don't never cast a stone, me. But, you know, I really used to study it. You feel me? So it's like, I looked at it like, you had cats who was like, they would push the realistic things that they was doing behind doors, you know what I'm saying, to the side. But that message though, that message was coming, you know what I'm saying? So yes.
And just to speak on the message too, because there is some artists that, like, there's some things out there like, damn, we probably shouldn't even put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned YG earlier, the flocking song. Going into an Asian house, like the step by step of going into like
you
home
snitching
invasion.
on
It was
yourself.
like that was crazy. Like no, we shouldn't be glorifying that.
You got gangster rap and snitch rap, you know.
You know, it's all these it's all these different levels, and nothing is just straight across the board. I think it's all like based on circumstances.
I think that there's a lot of pressure on artists, not just in hip hop, but in music in general, to you know, make music that is not always a reflection of what they would want to talk about.
Right.
You know, but because of pressure from, you know, people above them and people in power, and that's why it's important for us to be able to own our own things, so that you know, we won't be pressured and controlled by other folk who ain't, you know, skin folk, you know what I mean, to pressure us to write things that we don't want to write about.
Right.
You know, I'm sure that people like Jay-Z would want to do more conscious things. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, Jay-Z has his own. Jay-Z can do
He
what
got
he
the power now, so
he
it
got
ain't
the
no
power, he got
excuse.
the
Yeah.
juice now. But I mean, like, you know, in the 90s, in the early 2000s, I think that he even, you know, wrote about this in one of his songs, you know, about how he wanted to rap like Common, but, you know, because of, you know, the money that he was getting from, you know, doing the stuff that he was doing, he chose to continue to rap about what he was rapping about, you know what I mean? Because of that pressure, because the common, I mean, the conscious stuff doesn't make as much money. You know?
And what do you tell a person that has an opportunity to make millions or hundreds of thousands based off?
And that's when that's when spirituality come into play, because you know, I could easily make secular music, bro, and I be coming up with some hotlines like, man, I kill him with this, but I'm not in it for the battle. I'm not in it for glorifying none of this stuff. So I got to make a conscious decision. How do I want the people to see me? You know,
right.
Even if I'm a Christian and I have a drink, do I want to turn up on social media? It's not that I'm hiding it, but why would I want to depict that? You know, why would I want to show somebody that? You know,
right.
Snoop Dogg don't even drink the beer that he's on billboards on, but he advertising it for us, for them. And we like, Snoop Dogg got it, I got it. He probably never even drank that beer in his whole life, you know. And you don't. It ain't that your bag ain't small. Like, you got a bag, you don't need to get that. You can pass that up. When do you take your power and say, you know what? Let me get with the Eminem, the 50 cents. We gonna put our money against the Jews, and we gonna make the music industry what we wanted to make, what we want to make it.
Exactly.
And we don't. So when do we wake up from that? We just get in our comfort zones and sit in our corners and say every you know, N word is on their own. You know what I mean? And we get left for dead. You know, so I don't think it's okay that they evolve to where they at now and give you a football league and say they doing something positive. It's more that you can do. Empower yourself. Be the king that you think that you are. And kings, you know, we rule and leaders know how to follow and vice versa. And we sit on a throne, king amongst kings, and we make things happen. We don't sit there like we bigger than everybody. And that's what a lot of people are doing with this bread. So,
I mean, is it one of those things where we don't necessarily know what decision we would make unless we were placed with that decision, you know what I mean, to do something that could be more conscious and uplifting, you know, for less money versus like having the actual opportunity to make a ton of money by writing something that's like a little bit less, you know what I mean, conscious.
I'm glad.
You know what I mean? Like, I haven't had that personal opportunity. I haven't had a record deal, you know, in front of me that says, well, if you change, you know, this song that you're writing about the Lord to a love song, then, you know what I mean, you know, you can get millions of dollars. I haven't had that opportunity, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know how I would necessarily act if I did have that opportunity, you know what I mean? So I guess it's like my man was saying over here, you know, compassion is, you know, something that's like super important, you know?
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is.
I love that he brought that up, because that made me want to bring up Shed So Many Tears. Was that the song we was talking about?
Yeah.
So look, we may not have been in that position, but we've literally watched multiple artists like basically jump into destruction behind their decisions behind closed doors. You feel me? Like Pac got Dear Mama, Pac got you know what I'm saying, Changes. He got some club songs, some you know what I'm saying? He go through all of the motions.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Shed So Many Tears, I think that was probably the most on point depiction of like what the industry could do to somebody. Cause he giving you like real in detail. He talking about demons and all kind of stuff. You feel me? And like my man said, he was in the, you know what I'm saying, hearing this, and you really feel it because he's speaking from his spirit. You know what I'm saying? So if you keep your ears open, you could definitely know what's going on behind that. You know, especially it takes artists like that though to kind of like not be scared to tell the truth.
For me, I can't.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say a check ain't gonna change me. Everybody got a different. They come from somewhere, and that's why their decision is the way it is. I came from a place where I was in the dope game. I made a whole lot of money. I got arrested and went to the feds at 21 years old. Probably the same month Tupac got killed. I went to the feds September 25th, 96. I felt that I was in Vegas when it happened. The next day, we was in a room next door to Tupac where my homeboy got AK fragments in his neck and jaw because we had a real war going on out there. Like the devil was really busy. I know what that feels like. I was in the pit of that. If some of these youngsters sat in the pit of where I came from in the 80s and the early 90s, they'd be at home eating cereal, watching cartoons. They wouldn't, that perfect example. I seen a dude from Inglewood. Y'all seen him. He was Nipsey Hussle, all this looking real gang banged out. They got their little Dracos and all this stuff looking real serious about, but they aiming guns at their head doing stupid stuff. That's a whole nother story. But they claiming killers that they not. And you see the fear when that dude was on the live and dudes took his life while he was on live with his homeboy and he was crying for help, talking about he was in Hawthorne somewhere. All that gangster out the window. You probably had a Draco on you, but you wasn't looking for the ops like they was looking for you. You wasn't ready, swiveled in your. We used to be nervous in our day. We used to stay in our mirrors at every light, every corner. Like this was a tactic for us because now we got weirdos over warriors. You know what I mean? And the weirdos carry emotions, and the warriors know when it's time to stop and start a war. You know, it don't make it right, but I'm just saying it was a different thing with us. We had drugs to numb us because we didn't want that emotion. Now you got emotional drugs pushing these people. I seen these dudes tatted up, crying up under coffins harder than the people mama, you know? And I'm like, where the gangster at? You know what I mean? It's a lot of watered down gangster stuff right now, and too many of them got guns. Some of them came from, it used to be a life decision to put on a pair of shoes in my era and walk out the door. You know what I mean? We used to, I'm about this life. I'm finna, tuck that pistol when you go. You know, I had a 22 in 5th grade for what? Like, these are the things that we were taught and instilled. I remember when they had the caboose on Lancet off of Avalon and Imperial with crates of guns by itself, open. Didn't even say nothing when we ran up out of there. Wasn't no police. Like, how do you just leave that right there? Like, it's a lot of things that I came up in my era where I don't think they felt this stuff in their era. You know what I mean? It's a lot of watered down stuff where you got young parents not teaching these kids, you know, because they kids they self when they had them, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, I could go on. I sit in the trenches. I go to candlelight vigils. I pray at candlelight vigils. I speak at funerals. I spoke at the 3-year-old boy that got killed in Compton at the liquor store. When the boyfriend decided to shoot at the op, like you supposed to get a safe pass and keep walking, like you created that, you know what I mean? And I seen a lot of people say no to peace, you know, in the midst of the and some people come back to the table and want peace after it's too late. So we say don't get involved by choice, get involved by force. That's what Vicki Lindsay used to say with Project Cry No More. She passed away, but don't wait till your loved one murdered till you come into the table saying I need help. So let's do prevention before intervention. And it's a lot of awareness that we got to bring to the table, but it's hard to talk to numb brains that you too high, too drunk, too loaded to hear, you know. Right. So it's hard for us out there. We trying to do the best we can what we got and say we apologize. We got locked up in the system. Some of the people that was left out here was the dudes told on us. So you got raised by some snitches, or you didn't get raised by nobody, you know. And so how do we recover from this stuff? We in the process of real serious healing, and a lot of people not open to it.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that, Rare Breed. We appreciate that so much. What do you think,
what you said, Rare Breed, and you too, Dante, kind of landed definitely on me about truth, right? I think what happens is that when we look generationally, rappers were singing about their truth, as you said, right, Andre? Not so much that I'm singing about, I'm a big Ice Cube fan, so maybe not so much that I'm singing about I'm going to be the drug dealer or the dope boy, but in the community in which I grew up, I knew a dope boy. I knew a drug dealer. Where we grew up, there was a crack house 3-4 houses down. That didn't mean we used crack, but that was just a part of what that was, right? I think as we go through the years, in my opinion, that's become really commercialized, right? Yeah. And it's become glamorized, right? And people make money for that. So you get a lot of what I call them, fakers, right? So they are not really the gangbangers or the gangsters or are those people, but they're putting on that persona because that is what is expected or cool or,
the fad.
Whatever.
It's the fad.
Yeah, people would definitely knock off what they think is a good product. So if they think that it's good to say you selling drugs or to say that you're doing all this stuff and it's selling, then maybe we should emulate that. There's probably more Louis Vuitton knockoffs than there are actually Louis Vuitton bags.
Absolutely.
And that's just how it's going to be. We can't get around that. You're going to always have more knockoffs than you have the originals. So whenever we do anything, it's going to be like that. And that's just how that's I guess we're trendy.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these rappers, who they portray themselves to be when they rap is more so just a character. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily like who they really are, but it's just a character that they're portraying in order to make money. You know what I mean?
I think the Tupacs, the Nipseys, and the Biggie Smalls, they lost the gangsterism in them. That's why they ended up dead. They were the glamorized superstars. Their head wasn't in gangsterism. That's why their life got took, because a gangster on that status that's still on their gangster stuff ain't gonna make the decisions that cost them their life. You're not gonna make these are dumb moves. So that lets you know right there that they got watered down. They got lost in the system. They got lost in everything that they wanted to do. Because they want Biggie wanted the peace. He like, I got a new record out. I didn't do it. I'm going to L.A. Right. That's not a gangster move. Right. Nipsey going to the hood to handle some stuff. That's not a move for a person of your caliber. You know what I mean? You don't. Tupac didn't take his vest that night. Why you even go? Like it's a lot going on right now, and I learned that the hard way too, because I was dealing with my own demons at that time, and so many things I seen telling me don't go this way, go that way, stop. And then I stayed around and I got caught up, and I could have lost my whole life in the penitentiary, so it's so many lessons that we're not taught to learn. We don't have the right mentorship. No matter who you are, what you're doing, it's a mentorship you need to have. If you gangbang, you're supposed to have a big homie or a smart homie that's going to show you how to be a real gangster. My brother got killed 6 years ago. He never showed me how to do nothing fake or phony. Even though he did stuff, he never showed me that. And he was 49 years old, and they decided to take his life 8:30 in the morning. And what happened even deeper than that, this table that we started 2 years ago, I met a brother that I seen his heart for God. I seen his redemption, and I helped him. I was a tool to help him be a peace builder, and he stopped a big war between black and brown. And that following June 23rd, he got a RICO act and got sentenced, and one of his charges for killing my brother. So it gets deep when you really out here in the trenches. You gonna bump heads with the demons that God wants you to clash with. But if you don't have your spiritual tools sharp, how you gonna deal with it? Because I could have easily lost my mind with it. But it's a God-given purpose why I was brought that to the table in the work that I'm doing. Now, okay, you was talking and where you gonna walk it at? So now I got to lead by example. That's hard to lead by. Mm-hmm. I'm in the hot seat now, you know. So a lot of people say what they say, but you can't tell me nothing if you ain't really lived it and sat in it and absorbed it and allowed it to change you and be open for change, and you allowed it to destroy you. Then you really not about it.
How long were you away, Red Breed, in the film?
I came home and I left in '96. Came home in 2000 and went back and came back in 2009. I was out 8 months because I didn't know how to apply focus that I got in there to this world.
Yes.
And so I had to go back to the drawing board and understand what was the tools, why didn't I use that? Why did that spin me? Why did I let old influences get me and put me back in the game? And they almost gave me 20 to life, 2 strikes, because I came out and committed similar crimes, you know, and just being a menace, like it's not okay. Like we think it's okay to do what we do, and they don't want to listen to people like us. Now we square, we wear hats that say "Let me live," ceasefire. We busted, we this and that, and we came from that dark space, and we seen the pit. We was in the belly of the beast, and we trying to come back and say it ain't it, and they still don't want to hear it.
Yeah, trying to hear it.
My God. You know, Rare Breed, you mentioned 2 times the word mentoring, right? And I'm really interested in that word and interested in all of your opinions about how you feel about mentoring, and if you have a mentor, and how do young people find one if you feel it's valuable. You want to start with this?
Sure. So I definitely have, several mentors who, inspired me to, be the person who I am today. You know what I mean? One of the main ones I'm thinking about is Dr. Donald Singleton, attorney at law, who was a teacher of mine at Dorsey High School. He taught intro to law classes at Dorsey High School, which is what inspired me to become a lawyer. You know what I mean? To want to go to college and then go to law school after that and practice law. You know what I mean? So I'm all for mentors. I think that mentors are something that we should all can be beneficial to everybody. You know what I mean? So I'm thankful.
And for me, I'm burnt out because there's not enough mentors for the youth, and I'm mentoring a lot of youth right now, and we get programs to say, hey, see them through high school, but they going to college, we still need to mentor them. They're the people that's going to come back and, save the community. We need to make sure they get the degrees they need so they can come back and be the councilmen and the mayors and all that. And you always when you getting poured into, you need somebody to pour it back out to. So, we gotta have whatever you think. If it's just a big homie that got some knowledge, I got that. I got my pastor Lafayette Dorsey, Love and Live Again Ministry. Minister Tony with Nation of Islam, me and him would get on the phone and just share knowledge and his wisdom is infinite, and I respect, I don't care who you are, what you if you got knowledge, we can, iron sharpens iron, and you can learn a lot from a dummy too. So you can sit down and listen to a dummy, and that dummy can mentor you too. But the youth, we need more programs. There's a lot of programs. The Grid has a program for mentorship. It's organizations that need to learn how to get themselves out there and let the community know that they in the community. We sit on the corner for 15 years and nobody know you exist and you're not doing your job.
Okay, well, I hope that you will bring all of that information here to the Poetry of Justice show, and we'll get everything disseminated. Just to reiterate, as Sissy says, every Saturday night, 111 countries. Sissy and I be, because I'm Compton, and I just know, all I know how to do is grind. We lost our daddy. I was 18, Lori was 21, and her last year of college and my first year of college. And so it was a little bit of tragic, but we had to go out there and we had to make our way and do what we had to do. So I'm no stranger to grinding and hustling and making things happen. So that's just kind of what that is my mission. That's what I do. That's one of my passions. I have a passion for criminal justice. My degree is in criminal justice. I've worked with the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, and I worked with them for about 2.5 years. So every morning going through Skid Row. Remember, Lori, the Dash days, taking the blue line to the red line to the Dash, walking from all the way through Skid Row, and I had to be there every morning at 7:45, bright and early on the train, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot of humility, taught me a lot of peace. Growing up in Compton in the crack era, and I had never seen anybody smoke crack before until I was a grown woman going down here to Skid Row, right? I'm just saying, it was just like, damn, what the fuck? They're like, they smoke. I was like, wow. But you know what I'm saying? It's like where God calls us to go, and sometimes, not sometimes, all times, most times, He sends us to the belly of the beast. He sends us to those dark places. So I'm no stranger to that too, Rare Breed. I also used to work for different nonprofits, one of which was called California Rehabilitation and Employment Program. And what we would do, my particular role there at onset, was to go into the prison systems 3 to 6 months before parole release date. And what we would do is meet with the inmates right before release, just to make sure that they had a home unification program, somewhere to go so we could lower the rate of recidivism. We had a spot right here in Inglewood, actually, right up the block. Me and this gentleman, he was from the East Coast. He was from Philadelphia. Glover was his name. And we did California Rehabilitation and Employment Program. We had a spot in Koreatown, and then a second spot we opened up actually just 2 doors down from KJLH. And it was a good thing, just trying to help people and make sure we don't continue to fall into horrible traps. Lori and I, everybody does most likely maybe have friends or family that's been incarcerated. I've had friends and family that's had like 32 years straight, 27 years straight incarcerated as a youth, never been out state penal system. So it's just always been a passion for us to give and to do whatever we need to do. My mom and daddy used to always tell us that one of the ways to combat it is education, and kind of just speaking things out and letting everybody know what's going on, and just what we're doing here right now, just coming together and sitting together as a round table and just speaking our piece. And one thing about this show, that's what it does for me. It's therapeutic for me, because when I see the faces of individuals who come in and we are able to just chop it up, it just lets me know that my purpose is being fulfilled. So that's one of the things we do here. And based on that soliloquy I just went through, one of the questions we ask each of our guest tips and customers, think I'm at work, guests that come is the word justice. Justice means different things to different people for different reasons. And so that was one of the cornerstones when we created the show, is Poetry of Justice show. So what does justice, let's go with the attorney. Go over here to our legal Zoom room. Attorney Chris, justice. What does that word mean to you first? Let's just start there, because we could take this, chop it all the way up to...
Well, I think that there are different forms of justice. There's quote-unquote criminal justice, which, you have your degree in. There's economic justice. There's environmental justice. Yeah. You know what I mean? To me, justice just represents making things right, or as close to right as they can be. You know what I mean? I direct the legal team for Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. You know what I mean? And for a lot of those families who have lost loved ones to state-sanctioned violence, certain things can never be made right for them, because that loved one is never coming back, regardless of how much, money the family may get, or even if in those rare instances where a cop actually is convicted and gets like 5 years for straight up, killing or murder. You know what I mean? That still does not make things right. That does not replace what is taken away, but justice is getting as close to right as possible.
Okay, I can accept that. Making things right. All right, Rare Breed, your thoughts. The word justice.
It's a lot of thoughts. Just to sum it up, for me, justice, it's not my word. It's not for me. It's not for my people. It's not for for us to get excited about. I've studied history. In order to know where you came from, where you going, you got to know where you came from. They told me that, you know, they was going to hide something from me by putting it in the book. So I started reading a lot. And I see us so broken from the injustice that we never, you know, in our lifetime, I don't think we're going to see justice. So it's heartbreaking. It hurts. I put justice. I can't see it without putting system in the back of it and IN in the front, because we broken as a people, and no matter how much I get discouraged sometimes, you know, but I don't want to be the person that didn't do my portion while I was here on earth. So I continue to fight. I do what I can. I've done things that you'll never see my name on, because I was just that vessel to put things together and change things and make impact somewhere. And it wasn't about my name, you know, and I see change. I see what my vote can do in certain situations. I see what my presence can do in certain situations. So I just continue to do what I can, and I'm like sitting here doing it, hoping everybody wakes up so we can be that empowerment by the masses that's going to change that justice.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Dante, sir.
Yeah, so I feel like justice is definitely something from like mastery itself. And, you know, it hurt my heart to hear brothers like that say it like that, because you feel me, like, just like we taught a certain group of people how to be civilized, and brought them out of the caves and this, that, and the third, you know, teach them certain words, certain definitions, certain things like that, just as they spit back at their parents and this, that, and the third, they take those words and they try to reverse the meanings. So you got brothers like that who, you feel me, like, he come back in this world and ain't no justice to him. Ain't no justice to, you know what I'm saying? So I believe justice really come from mastery itself. We got to create our own justice, you know, your own understanding of who we are, having knowledge of self, and, you know what I'm saying, just building with your brothers and this, that, and the third. And I think, like one of the hosts said earlier, you know, each one teach one. And I believe that's our justice, because if we looking for who imprisoned us for justice, it's just not going to happen, you know? So I believe, I think we got to just take mastery of self and create our own, you know? That's how I look at justice. And it's also J in the supreme alphabet.
Alrighty.
Justice. I feel like we know the definition, but we don't know what it means. As it relates to, I mean, I'm listening to our in-house attorney talk about all the different justices. I'm like, yo, well, none of that relates to us, you know, and which kind of sucks, because, like, justice to me would be Zimmerman on the stake.
That part.
Justice for me would be reparations. Justice for me would be, financial freedom. Those things are kind of what represent justice for me. So since I don't know what that feels like.
I know, right?
You know, I don't know if we, I want to fight hard for that. I won't stop fighting for it. I would love to see it in this lifetime. Justice leaves me at a loss for words. Like, it really does. Because I can only relate it to myself. And we haven't seen any justice for us.
Joy, I got a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
A little bit off target. But no, it is. I have a question for you, because it's just a real deal Holyfield. What's up with the Galvan get down? Are we going to be able to do a recount?
Oh, man. So, okay.
Because that's when I'm talking about justice.
Yeah.
That's where I went
See,
there. Is that cool?
And I still haven't gotten justice. Listen.
Okay, hold on.
I
know that's what I'm talking about.
So I ran for office, for the little background. I ran for office. I ran against the incumbent. He was there for 8 years. He didn't campaign at all. I campaigned my ass off. I had the best campaign, I feel like, out of anybody. And I'm not just being braggadocious about it or, no particular way. I really did have the best campaign out there. And I lost by 1 vote. Wow. And that was crazy. Wow. No one's ever lost by 1 vote. This is the craziest thing ever. We have evidence of voter fraud. We have evidence of, we got people that said they registered in Compton, they live in Los Feliz, they live over here, they live over there. We even did some background checks on a few people that voted, and they're not from Compton. So I knew to get down. justice for that is going to cost me a lot of money because I have to pay for a lawyer now because, we have the evidence of the voter fraud, but the county won't do nothing about it. The DA is doing investigation, but that can happen today. That can happen 10 years from now, So if I want to get something done now, I'm going to have to put out a nice chunk of change, hire me a lawyer, and get justice that way. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if that's justice.
Sorry to hear that.
I know.
It happens,
Because it just kind of came out of nowhere. Because just watching the election and following it, I was just a little taken aback because I was like, okay, we got this in the bag. You know what I mean?
Everybody said I'm the only one that had it in the bag, and I was the only one that didn't.
And then wait a minute, and I'm like, what the fuck, Jilly? And then I just saw a post from him. I was like, what? Am I tripping? But I already know I'm gonna just stay quiet. Just stay quiet.
I can't.
Thank
be
you
quiet.
so
I'm
much.
not a be quiet person.
Go ahead, since you can't be quiet.
I mean, it's just sad, Andre, that the system in the city of Compton it's like an apple. You ever got an apple and you take a bite and it's brown and you think, oh, I could cut that part off, but you keep cutting and you get all the way down to the core and the core is brown? Right. That's the city of Compton in terms of their government system and their school board system. And it's so disheartening when there is a new breath of fresh air. There are people that are on the council that were there when I was a child. I'm 137 years old. So they really don't need to have those seats. Do you know? I mean, and it ties into mentoring, doesn't it? No. We haven't done our obligation if we haven't groomed some other individuals to step in, right? And I think the thing is that there's so much stolen money in the city of Compton that they're going to make sure those players, and I'm not saying who those players are. I don't know for sure myself, but I know that it's been corruption since I can remember, which is like 1976,
and the people,
right, up until now.
And the
so
people
don't
you
give
see.
up.
Yeah.
Keep running. I'll keep voting for you. I'll keep telling my friends to vote for you. But we're going to have to keep doing that because there are people. There are people who don't want to see it right.
Right.
There are people who are a part of that system that aren't for change, that aren't for community. It's about, I'm going to line my pockets because this is what I do.
See, and this is the thing, too, though. And all that is true.
Yes.
100% true. I agree with all of that. The issue here is in Compton, it's 100,000 people.
Yes.
The average age is 25, but the average voter is 55. So now that's an issue. And that's not just in Compton. That's likely in Inglewood. That's likely in various of urban communities. So the youth isn't taking the bull by the horns and saying, hey, we need to get out here and vote. We only care about presidential elections, and that's not going to never affect us. Yeah. I mean, it's going to take so long for that to affect us, but the local elections, the voting on city councilmen or mayors, judges, DAs, we're not even engaged. We have no idea what's going on, and we are the most affected by it because we're going to be here the longest. You take somebody that's 25 years old, in a perfect world, you at least got another 50 years.
Right.
But the only people that's voting is somebody that only got maybe 10 years left. No offense to the people that are 137 years old. But the truth of the matter is we are going to be the most affected, but we are the most disengaged. Yeah. So I don't expect our seniors to change as much. Unfortunately, sometimes people have seen so much trauma that they don't even know how to see hope.
Are they discouraged, Andre?
Absolutely.
That's what it is. It's just that year after year after year, you work in political campaigns, you support individuals, you look at primaries, and then you wake up and you're like, how the hell did JoJo win? That, because, and people get beat down by that. And what they say is, which is unfortunate, is, you know what? I'm just going to pull my car up in my driveway in Compton, but I'm going to go to Lakewood to shop. I'm going to go to Gardena to get my groceries. I'm going to do every fucking thing outside of Compton that I can because there's corruption here, and it's never going to change.
You know what I'm sitting here thinking? I'm like, what rock was I crawled up under? This is my first time meeting this brother, and I'm in the and I'm telling you, I'm in the community. I never heard about him. And I'm not good with politics, but I'm connected to people that's helping and doing stuff, and this is one of the problems right here. Like people like myself need to engage with you, know what's going on, because now I'm thinking about my resources. You know, Southern California ceasefires is a big reason why Mayor Garcetti's in office right now. He ain't been to the table since we voted him in. We started something with United We Stand Up last year, this past election, bang the polls, and we did interviews with the news and stuff like that, showing them who we are, and we was telling the homies, we was giving them the insight, like, you can go in here and change a law that can get the homie out or stop you from getting arrested and getting all day when you get pulled over. All you got to do is check this box. Let me show you what this proposition mean. It ain't even, like you said, it's about the propositions and the bills and all that. It ain't about all that, the president and all that stuff. That stuff don't affect your city. So just last year, bro, we've been doing things that's going to wake people up, that's going to give you the votes that you need when it's time for you to do it again. And this is the work we got to start doing now. You know, and even in doing that work, we speak up as people in place to do stuff. You know, we got Youth Justice Coalition. You know, they go to Sacramento. They put bills on the table. I've seen things change. I've seen power in what we do. You know, we took a Johnny Rebel in the Confederate flag off of Savannah High School in Orange County. Like, I seen the power in that, and I was the person called to do that. So I know when your hand is on that power, what we can do. But I also felt the danger of my life. I felt if they could drag me out there and hang me on the stake, you know what I mean? I felt that oppression of the civil rights movement. You know, we can't be gullible. If we willing to stand to put ourselves in a position and then really be empowering in that position, we got to be ready for the opposition. You know, in order to create peace, you got to prepare for war. And our life is on the line when we start trying to be these powerful people. And we got to be willing to live and die for what we're trying to live for. And a lot of people don't take it that serious. Like, I can get killed doing gang intervention. I buried homies pushing peace that got killed. It's serious.
On top of that, we gotta definitely like teach people how to carry the torch. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of cats out here frontlining. So, you know, it might be some people in the background that might be able to take that and, you know, kind of attack that different in a sense, you know?
Mentorship, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
So how do we inspire our community? How do we get young people to care about local government? How do we get young people to become mentors, or to stand in the front lines, or to stand in the back lines? I mean, how does that happen? And I have it's not really a parable, but an example, a vignette kind of what my grandmother said to my sister and I when we were little girls, right? Our family, my mom is from Florida, and so Jackie and I spent every Christmas and summer in Florida in a small town about 90 miles south of Miami, right? And fishing, you know, is a big thing, and seafood. So they would go out and get a whole bunch of crabs and put them in a barrel. The thing was only probably about that deep, right? And they would never get out. I was petrified because I was like, Mother, they're gonna get out and get me. She's like, no, they're like black people. They're never gonna get out because when one get to the top, somebody's gonna snatch them back down. I watched those crabs for well over an hour. Do you know not one got out of that barrel? Because exactly that happened. One would get their little claw up to the top, whoop, snatch them right back down. So how do you address that as black men so active in your community?
Let me address that right there specifically, because they always say black people are like crabs in a bucket. A crab's natural environment isn't a bucket. So it wouldn't respond naturally because that's not a natural environment for it. The reason why we pull each other down is because this isn't a natural environment for us either. So we need to change our environment we wouldn't be pulling each other down like crabs in a bucket because we wouldn't be in that same environment.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to always keep that to the forefront too. So it's our environment. It's not our mentality. It's not our natural resource to just kind of pull this brother down just because it's our environment. It's because it feels like his success is my failure, and that's an issue in our community because we've gone so many years of shining on each other. Hey, you ain't got this, or you ain't got, you know what I'm saying? You ain't popping tags or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing this for so long, and it's like now you like, man, you know what I'm saying? You feel it's a particular way. There's an energy now that's between us, and it shouldn't be because we're constantly just pulling each other down. We're talking bad about each other. It's just that environment that we've been setting. So I wanted to just say that.
Appreciate that.
And just echo that, add to that, it got so deep of pulling us down that we don't even want each other around. So that's why killing is so desensitized. I'm so mad I'm going to kill him. He ain't even going to be around. In our area, it was like, I'm going to get down with him. If I lose, I'm gonna do some push-ups and practice and get at him next week. You know what I mean? And now we at an era where they so cowardice they don't even want them around. Look what happened to the Mo 3s and all these other people, bro. They out the picture. We killing people that's phenomenal in our culture that could do so many powerful things, and we okay with killing our history.
Isn't that insane?
That's sad. That's a.
We don't know how many Obamas we killed.
Wow.
You're right about
for
that.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Stokely's we done killed. We don't know how many of these great leaders that we had knocked off.
I sit at these tables and we meet each other in a humble manner where dudes have hood history where they was hood famous, where that dude got this history, he used to this and he used to that, and oh, you know what, he from that rival hood, but that's his cousin, that's his uncle. Man, well, he with the business, he used to do his stuff like a real warrior, and he did too. And we against each other. And I sit at these tables, I was like, man, if we did this, if we do this to a capacity, how strong we could be. Imagine if all these warriors didn't turn against each other and turned against the system that's oppressing us, where we would be, And we've been getting stripped so bad. Like we think about the riots, the Watts riots, but we don't look past 65. We forget the 64s and the 62s. We had Ronald Stokes killed in 62. We had Sam Cooke killed out here because he was connected to a lot of that stuff. We don't see the resemblance of. We don't see that it's related, And all this stuff is a trickling effect of our destruction, and it just comes down and down and stems. People say nowadays, the new kids say ain't no root cause. It's what happened yesterday, not yesteryear. You already lost the conversation right there.
Wow.
So you can't wake them up. It's hard to wake them up. So, it's a sad situation. I know it's only so much praying you could do. It's some actions need to be taking place. It's some heart that need to be had. Churches need to close down.
We need we need a focus point. We need something. Yeah. We need like a common goal. And I don't, and with that common goal, I don't think we should necessarily change who we are. I think we need warriors to stay warriors. I think we need peacemakers to stay peacemakers. I think we need our lawyers to stay lawyers. And all these, I think everyone, stay in your position, just change your direction. So this is not going to be popular opinion, but I'm so frustrated with our people in terms of, I knock one of your friends off, your whole hood come to get me tonight. But if a cop knock off your people, we want to stand out and do a peaceful protest.
Oh my God.
The same warriors want to light a candle and walk down the street and ask for peace. That drives me insane.
Yeah. I've been there, done that. I get so much backlash from the Black Lives Matter people because when they come out the woodworks, I'm like, okay, while y'all busy and y'all hyped up, we got killing over here. We got black on black right here. It ain't about that. See, there you go. It's about everything. What you mean? Because I stood with you and I stood for you when you wasn't doing stupid stuff. When you wasn't burning cars and acting all belligerent. I stood for you. I stood with you and supported you. Why you can't come over here and support me? Because them same numbers we see walking down these streets, shutting down these streets, talking about Black Lives Matter, go do that with the homies. Come down my street. I want y'all to come to my homies and say, we tired of y'all killing each other. We tired of y'all doing that stupid stuff, So I don't know, like this Black Lives Matter thing grew to be something very phenomenal but yet and still it lacks what the people need. It's a big lack of what the people need, because you got one main focus when it's a gumbo pot of root causes, and you're not attacking the root causes. You only show up when police killing us. But when imagine if you come and save the person doing genocide. If you come save me from killing my people, I'm another warrior that's gonna be on your army to help you go against the police. You got so many warriors you leaving behind because you so one dimensional. It don't make no sense. And what we do with the peace ride is coming together for the common cause of peace. We first stop the religious gangbanging. Then we get the bikes that got stigmas on them, bad stigmas. Then the low riders that they said will never ride with the bikes. Then the Corvettes, and then we build a relationship with law enforcement. Sheriffs, the people, they don't want a relationship. We had Sheriff Bach in the front of the line. They still was pulling us over, giving us tickets, and they was under his instruction. They banging hard. Compton banging hard. The politicians, they banging, bro. And you not fit for their gang, so they gonna do everything to ostracize you and not put you at a seat so you can see what they doing. That's gonna continue to be a fight until we kick some of them people out. Like you said, they been there how long? Because they don't want to replace it with nothing until they find somebody to replace it. If you're not fit to replace that, you're not coming in our circle. And Compton is a tight-knit hub like that. And so we got to find a way to break through that chain.
I like that. Go ahead, Rashid.
So there was a comment on YouTube. Justice seeking balance between people in every area of people activity, including economic, education, entertainment, labor, law, policies, religion, sex, war, counter-war, Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. Race soldiers started as slave catchers anyway. And Black Lives Matter is getting exposed, and they're pushing the LGBT. Also, Dante, you have a huge fan in OMG Kush.
Yeah, shout out, man. Y'all get that. Y'all get that last album. But
do the music. We haven't even done the music.
Is it too late to add on to what my brother said right here?
Of course not. Please do, Dante.
Because a lot of my older generation, they look at me like one of the youngsters that's like not distracted by what they want us to be distracted by. And how I see it, as far as crabs in a bucket, like we shouldn't even be thinking we crabs. You know what I'm saying? Like if we knew, it's way too many people that don't know how great we are. And that's why I always used to love obtaining knowledge of self. You feel me? Like hearing that we the original people, that just does something to you. So I've been there. Like I told y'all earlier, how my pops went out. I literally used to live my life like I was gonna go out at 17. Facts. Not even just saying that. Like I literally thought it was just gonna be over with at 17. I didn't know how. I didn't know why. You feel me? So I didn't think past that at all. I didn't put no future plans, no type of nothing. It's a lot of that going on right now. These cats don't see nothing else besides like, and then they even say it in the music a lot, like death or jail. Like, bro, you could go to Hawaii, bro. Like, you feel me? Like, it's and then it's like I even took some of my older California friends, and they from the streets in LA. I'm talking about like we went over the bridge coming from New Orleans to La Place, and these cats is grown ass men, like 40 and plus, tripping over water. Tripping just because we on a bridge and it's water, like, oh shit, look, it's water, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? And that really made me think about it, like, bro, like, that's the main thing. We gotta just see like it's greater things. You feel me? Like we don't have to be trapped. Redlining happened a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? So we could like mentally escape that. So I feel like as soon as the majority of us have like knowledge of self and know how great we are, I think a lot of this stuff is gonna shift. You feel me? Like you might push another crab out the bucket before you know what I'm saying? Before you pull somebody down or whatever the case may be. But that's how I see it.
I guess I do want to speak about our current Black Lives Matter movement as an organizer for Black Lives Matter. While I'm not here to debate with anybody or anything like that. You know what I mean? And I definitely respect the work that these three gentlemen are putting forward to advance our community. But what I will say is that I think that there is space for black people to, advocate for different things. You know what I mean? I think that there is space for organizations that whose primary focus is to end state-sanctioned violence against our people. And I think that there's space for organizations to end black-on-black violence. You know what I mean? And I think that, just because one organization chooses to focus on, one particular aspect of our struggle does not, that's not a weakness. You know what I mean? That's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, in the same way that it is not a bad thing for organizations to focus on a particular type of cancer as opposed to all cancer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There are brain cancer organizations. There are, heart disease organizations that advocate specifically for those things. You know what I mean? And so I don't think that there's, anything wrong with that. Black Lives Matter primarily does focus on issues of police brutality, and that is something that we need, and that is, most people, and I'm not speaking about anybody here in particular, though, but I do feel like most people do a lot of, armchair revolutionary talk. You know what I mean? The people who are not doing any of the work, they do the talking. You know what I mean? And they just let other people do the work and criticize. You know what I mean? But yeah, those are just some of my thoughts.
I 100% agree with you. It's room for so many different organizations to focus on so many different things in black culture. We dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
So let's address those things, yeah. And not one organization can address all of those things. Right. We have a mental health situation. Economics. It's the black on black. It's the everybody else on black. It's so many different things, areas that we can focus on. So I think, again, casting stones, and it's like kind of, I put that to the side. Again, I'm pushing compassion for our own people because we've got a lot of stuff going on. Mm-hmm. I wanted to say this, though, as it relates to black on black violence.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be hard to stop. We're so far away from that. But everything is a step-by-step process. So let's go with the social media thing, right? You could be the president of the United States. If you incite a riot at the Capitol, they will shut down your social media. They'll take down your Facebook, your Instagram, all that, right? So if you say something anti-vaccine, they'll take the same social media. If you say something anti-gay, they're taking that same social media. Mm-hmm. But if you're a black man killing another black man, or you showing violent acts on another black person, these are definitely violations of their code of conduct. However, that gets liked, shared, streamed, pinged,
going
tagged.
viral.
It goes viral, and it's only our people hurting our people. Mm-hmm. So if I'm hurting your family online, the chances of us reconciling is very slim, and the more people that see it, the more anger is in him, and it's not we ain't letting it go. It's too big now.
Right.
And how do we as a people heal when we constantly egging each other and picking at each other and kicking each other while we down? Let's first get it off of social media. It's not gangster. It's the number one way police are doing their research to take your ass to jail. They don't even have to do research.
Well, you doing it.
You doing it. So if I'm talking to the gangsters, that's not gangster.
Right.
Nothing about that is gangster. Let's knock that off. For the people that ain't gangsters, understand that's not gangster. So let's let that whole social media beef, this egging things on. I'm tired of seeing people kick over other people's candlelight visuals. I think that's the most degrading, nastiest thing in the world. Constantly talking about people that are dead it's just hella disrespectful. Black people, let's stop hurting each other emotionally. Those are the hardest scars to get over, an emotional scar. Right. A black eye, a heal. A gunshot wound, a heal. Mm-hmm. But that emotional scar, that take a long time. And it's hard to bounce back when we're constantly dealing with that. So understand that these people are letting you put that online for a reason. There's a purpose. There's a reason for them allowing you to show this, to record this, to go live and share this. There's a reason for that. Right. You're going to jail. Right. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to jail. Somebody's dying. It's not okay. So I just wanted to put that out there. I know I kind of like derailed a little bit from where we was at, but it was about the black on black crime, and you know what I'm saying? It's kind of something that's been bothering me. I talked about that during my campaign. It's just some things that we just want to identify that's happening in the world, period, that we can just that we can have an effect on directly, and some people will call it censorship. Mm-hmm. Yes, nigga, you need to censor yourself.
Right. So true.
That is true.
And if I may, I wanted to speak on the conflict that people have with what we do in the community versus what the Black Lives Matter do. When people like myself speak about it, I speak about it in form for healthy resolve. Because every conflict ain't a bad conflict if you try to bring a healthy resolve to it. But if one of the sides don't even want to have the conflict, to sit at the table with the conflict, then it's going to be an unhealthy resolve. When a person is stubborn and bullheaded and stuck in their ways and not open to the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we're supposed to be standing on in these times. If I come to you and say, hey, can y'all help this community? I didn't come screaming at you. I didn't come yelling at you and talking down on what you're doing. I'm saying, I love what you're doing. We need this over here because this is going to help that. Mm-hmm. They don't want to hear that. That's the problem that I have with a lot of things that people do. Everybody wants to say, no, that's y'all thing. No, it's a gumbo pot of root causes. What we do with, like, for instance, Ceasefire is an umbrella of organizations. We got mentorship, girls, boys mentorship. We got victim services. We got mothers, murder victims. We got victimizers. We got law enforcement. You know what I mean? It's an umbrella full of resources that we need. And for me, for Black Lives Matter, help us, because you out on a limb right now. You went straight to a leaf. You went straight to a leaf and then tap into the root. I don't want to, like I tell the homies, I said, man, if I was the police, I'd knock one of us down too. I'd give me a nigga no problem because we doing it. How am I supposed to respect that and push for y'all to stop doing it when we doing it to ourselves? Like, why would you want them to see us change when we not showing change within ourselves? Be the change you want to see. And they not doing that. And that's the problem. If you can't slow down from your hyper, put the rag on, run down the street with your signs and see we need to back up a little bit and play a little more chess, then we going to continue being at each other's throat because that's not wisdom.
Let me say this, though. Because I'm not an advocate for Black Lives Matter, nor am I opposer. I'm very neutral on this. From a business standpoint, we can't write out their mission statement. You know what I'm saying? Like, their mission statement is their mission statement. Yeah. And it's going to be what it's going to be. So we get to this point where they are a powerful group. They have a nice momentum going. We would want to throw more on them because of that. But the truth is, if that's not the part of their mission, then it's not going to happen. And again, I'm not advocating for it or opposing it, but it's just like Hub Radio. Our mission would be to focus on Compton and that community. And if you tell me to go to Beverly Hills and talk about that, I'm like, it's probably popping, but I'm not. That's not my mission. Mm-hmm. So we get to this point where it's like, we want to put our mission on what's trending or what's popular, which for good reason, because it's a huge voice, especially right now, huge voice, and we would love for them to talk about those things.